there's a few more things that I just want to kind of say and get away for people who are watching. I don't know who's watching, but um, I might see clients over the next just like 1 week, maybe less than that. I don't know. I might see people. Um, I don't know. Sometimes I get people contacting me asking me if I've started up again. I might see people, so I might, but I'm only going to see people if either we just don't talk about religion at all throughout the whole session, or if they don't generally know. I think that will be the thing, because I don't want to see people who know about my religion and know that I'm only doing this because I feel like I'm in a prison, like I'm in a trap, because I can't do that, because I feel like you don't care that I'm in a prison or I'm in a trap, you know. Um, I need, I don't need work, but I kind of want work if I want a holiday. I just need £1,000, which is probably 20 clients between now and, you know, October. I've got plenty of time. Maybe I'll get PIP, maybe I won't need to do this. But yeah, I think doing a session, if I know that these people don't know who I am, and if they've just come across an old ad that hasn't come down. I don't know why they don't come down, but a couple of, probably about 8 a year or something, contacting me saying they see my ad, even though I don't know which ad they're talking about. But yeah, I don't know if I really will, but I just want to make this. If you're watching my videos, because I think there's someone else who contacts me regularly, and he says he's watched my videos, and you know, I don't know if he's on my Facebook or anything. I have no clue. I'm paranoid about what people know, and this is making it hard to do massage, because one of the reasons why I stopped. It was one of the reasons why I stopped at the very beginning. In 2013 I found out I was God, and then suddenly everything I did was just, I was paranoid that people were watching me suffer whilst I was living in a tiny studio flat with a small bathroom, a small kitchen, and just a room that had only enough room for a sofa and a fold-out bed in it. You know, that's what I was living in, and to do that, knowing that I was God, knowing that I can't tell anyone, because when I did tell people, they just didn't care. You know, I'm getting reminders of how awful it was back in 2013, and you know, you're just constantly feeling like this world just doesn't give a shit about you and doesn't want to help you in any way. And then what, you're here to help people, and yet they don't want to help you, and it just gives you so much anger. And I've had so much anger, and I held it in because I believed that something good was about to happen, that you were going to make songs and help me, and that just didn't happen. And so the idea of having to still go back to that situation is just really, really awful. And you know, it's very, very, very depressing. And yeah, if people want to know why God is not helping anyone, it's because no one helped me. And you just need to look at my life and know the sort of thing that I kind of, you know, just I don't like dick pics as well. I always got dick pics, people sending pictures because they think the dick is like, I like I'm attracted to it or something. Oh, I know you love this. No, you love this. You don't know me. I'm a stranger to you. And you know, it's one thing to have someone you kind of know and remember and talk to regularly, or like a regular client. Like, I don't like dick pics, but if they're a regular client, you feel like they're actually giving you money, they're actually giving you something. And okay, you don't like these dick pics and you feel a bit sick when you see them, but if someone's, you know, if someone's regularly giving you 40 or 60 quid each week or every month or something, you know, you feel a little bit like you can handle it. But yeah, the idea of complete strangers who book appointments and might not even show up, and probably, you know, I posted that dick pic on Facebook because I wanted to see if that person is the person that might have been the night before, the person who called me the night before, or if it's a complete different person. I don't know. I feel like humans are robots, and I don't know why you keep seeing an ad that I haven't posted in 2 years, but you know, something's controlling the internet, and it's controlling who sees it, and therefore I have to in a way see humans as being like robots. and they do things for certain reasons. You know, I've heard of people actually that receive dick pics and then they take the dick pics and they expose it online or something, and then they could be sued for huge amounts of money. I mean, that's totally ridiculous. If you send a dick pic to someone when they didn't ask for it, didn't want it, didn't call for it, you know, you have to take responsibility for your actions for doing this. And it's in a way, if they really don't want it and if they do feel sick over it, you're basically like attacking them with these pictures of that unwanted pictures that they don't want. And if they attack you back by saying, right, you're obviously very proud of your dick, now let's go and put it online because obviously you're very proud of your dick, otherwise you wouldn't be showing it to me. And then if you want, there's a lot of girls who probably receive dick pics, so it's not just me. And I've over my 20 years, I've received loads, you know, loads. As a masseuse, you see them all the time, and I think if you're doing it all the time, you kind of just like, oh, another one, whatever, you know, whatever. I don't care. But because I haven't done it for 2 years, and I mildly talked about it on a video, and suddenly I'm getting, I don't know why someone would send a dick pic to me. I think there's some people who watch my videos just so they can wank, and they're not listening to a word that I'm saying. They just think, oh wow, she's pretty, let's wank over this, and I don't give a shit of what she thinks. And when you're dealing with people like this, it's hard to know, you know, who's serious and who's not like that. And people would say they're not like that, but of course they would say they're not like that. Everyone who does that would say that they're not like that when really they are. And therefore you just learn to not trust people, not believe what they say. I'm always analysing things, over analysing things, and I have to take things for what I see or what I hear or what I remember or what I think I hear. Sometimes I do hear things that might have been changed, like weren't actually what was said, but what have been changed in my mind. So you know, I know all this. My memories is not very good, but yes, I want to say that I don't want to see clients of people who I have conversations with about God, because when I realise that they don't give a shit about the fact that I'm calling myself God, and you know, that's when I start getting very offended and very depressed. But yes, if someone if someone calls and is someone who's just going to come and go after, you know, and not talk about the religion and whatever, then I guess I'll be grateful for the money. But yes, I'm not desperate for it, so I can wait. Technically, I'm not actually doing anything. I'm just lying in bed all day. But the reason why I'm lying in bed all day is because I have no money to spend. I've got just enough money to cover bills and council tax, and I don't really have much money other than that. I mean, I guess I could just close down my save to buy and then I've got 18,000 to do whatever I want with. But then I won't be able to buy another 10% of my sister's house if she wants to sell it. And I don't know if you're going to come and talk to me next year. So, you know, if the plan is to just ignore me for ages, then I just don't know what the plan is. I know not to get my hopes up. But anyway, I want to make prophecies about housing because my sister's still very intent. I think this was another thing that I said in that 23-minute video, that my sister's still very intent on trying to buy a house, and I didn't think Marco was serious, but then we did like lots of walks, and she was actually showing us the houses that she was thinking of, or what she was thinking of buying, and you know, I was saying that you need to get, you know, the inheritance of the second father first before making these deals, because you know, you might put a 10% deposit down only to find that you don't get the inheritance, or you might have to wait another year. And I think she's actually thinking of not taking out a £300,000 mortgage on the one house, but rather taking 150 on that house and 150 on her one-bedroom flat that she bought with the divorce money from her partner. So she bought a one-bedroom flat with the divorce money of her ex, and I think she had like 70,000 left. And then over the last 2 years she has been working. She lost her child, so she was working a lot and earning quite a lot of money, doing like 2 or 3 jobs, and so she had like 150 managed to have that's kind of savings, plus I gave her 43, plus my mum gave her money to live there for 2 years. So the flats are very expensive, you know. She's bought a second flat and it's got 130,000, but yeah, if she's thinking of having 130,000 on her 2 bedroom, 150,000 on mortgage on her 1 bedroom, and then 150,000 on her large house. I've been trying to work the calculations. If you have a £300,000 mortgage, you have to pay probably about if it's 5% interest, then it's £15,000 a year interest to pay for the interest. Usually that people have to pay it back within 25 years, and I think the calculation on that was she has to pay back 12,000 a year on that to pay back this, and so she was thinking if she can sell it per I think per month it worked out to be like 1,200 just to pay off the interest, and 1,000 for to help pay off and buy the house. So if she rents out the house for 25 years, she not only pays off the interest, but she also gets the money back. So that is quite a good idea. But if there's a housing market collapse around the corner, she might find that she can no longer get the 2,025. She has to rent it out for 2,200,000, and if she gets a 3 bedroom or 2 bedroom with that, she might actually be able to get £2,200 pounds a month. That won't give her any profit. That won't mean she can live off it. But that money would just about cover the interest rate on the mortgage, and would cover the the interest rate and the mortgage, and would cover the money to pay it off. But you could only pay it off providing you get that money. Now, if a collapse is going to happen around the corner, which I think it is, because I think a lot of people are going to leave, and there might be lots of empty houses, so there might be a lot of people from poorer countries or from countries that aren't very nice. Like Italy is a lovely place, but there are some places in Italy that just look torn, ruined, like all the houses look like they're falling down, and I can't remember where it was, but I went somewhere, and I bet a lot of people there would not want to live there if they could move somewhere else. If the housing market was dropped in nicer areas, they would all want to move to the nicer areas. And some people might want to move to England if house prices were dropped, and therefore, I think there's going to be a mass exodus of stupid people, and I think house market is going to drop. But if it drops, then Sophie will no longer be able to rent out a flat for 2,200. It'd be more like 1,000 a month, and if she's only making 1,000 a month, she's not even going to pay the interest, and therefore she's either going to find herself getting more and more in debt until the house until the banks come along and like repossess the house and pay off the mortgage. But yeah, if she's got a £300,000 mortgage and there's only 150,000 on one house, then she might find that she'll lose both the 1 bedroom and the 2 bedroom house, the new 2 bedroom house that she wants to buy. If the market collapses and she's got a mortgage on 2 flats, but if the rent no longer can cover paying off the mortgage and paying off the interest, she might find that she ends up losing both the properties, and if she's trying to sell as well, if you're forced to sell and you can only get half of what you paid it for, then you might just find that it covers the mortgage. You might not find it even covers the mortgage. If the house is worth 400,000 and if it drops to 200,000, but the mortgage she has is actually 300,000, then she's going to find that she's not only lost the whole house to the mortgage company or the bank who owns the house, but she's also still got £100,000 on the flat that she did actually originally pay for. So if she's renting that out to my mum, and my mum's already paid her and not going to give her any more money, she might find that she can't even pay the mortgage, and she's in a job that she might lose because she doesn't. There was some arguing last week, and I think they tried to get her to lift an old lady, and this lady was very heavy and didn't want to stand up, and she had to change her, and she was really struggling, and it ended up her not being able to do it. I think she left off a skirt or something, or left off a petticoat or something, and missed out something basically, and then she got massively told off and ended up crying, and then left halfway through, and I don't know. She might not lose her job, but she doesn't really enjoy work. There's one person that she doesn't enjoy working with, let's just say that, and she said that I don't want to work with that person, and she said she's willing to lose the job because of not working with that person. And yeah, if you've got a massive mortgage and okay, you did have a job, but if you lose it because you just can't continue, if you're struggling with mental conditions of not being able to work with a certain person that they're forcing you to work, after this big cry, she did go back, and then they ended up giving her the fattest person, the largest person in the building to lift up again, and she said, I can't do this by myself, and then she ended up tested leaving because she was angry that not only was she about to just walk out, I don't know, there was this situation, and therefore her job is not really secure. Even though it is secure, it's not if she's going to be having tantrums like this. And therefore, I'm thinking about the collapse and what's happened, and her situation. She does things that annoy me all the time, and her getting a £350,000 house to buy a £400. It's just ridiculous. She does not have the money. She's wanting to quit the job and sort of just live off the rent money, but she's not going to be able to live off the rent money if the rent only just covers the mortgage, the interest, and the mortgage to pay the interest rate to pay off the mortgage, and then the money to sort of pay off the house. Okay, when you sell the house, it would be worth a lot, but if the house market is about to crash, then it's not going to be worth a lot. So a little advice for bankers who are doing this, I don't know, but if there is a lot of people who only have houses because they're renting it out and the rent money is paying off the mortgage, they are going to find it. They might find it a massive challenge to get that money back if the rent market, because if the housing market halves, the rent market will halve too. And if the rent market halves and they find that they can't pay off the mortgage because the interest rate is too high and the mortgage is too high, and now the house has lost all its value, they're going to find that the banks are going to come and just collect up all the houses, and they're going to be extremely wealthy. And do I care? No. I mean, I care about the quality of the person and the mindset that they have and the beliefs that they have. If they generally had no idea that a housing market was about to collapse and foolishly bought a house thinking that this was their opportunity, if they made a wise choice, it's just a bad time, then okay, spiritually they should have probably been a bit more connected and realized that something was about to happen and not made the purchase. But if it was a genuine, they're a decent person, then I think it should be up to, maybe the banks can save them. I don't know, but I know that I believe there's going to be a crash around the corner, and when this happens, this is going to give the banks full rights on being able to just take over the house. Your house was worth 400,000. You've got a £300,000 mortgage. The house is now only worth 1,000, and you're not going to be able to pay off this mortgage. Plus, you're not going to be able to pay off. So we're going to take everything, including the £100 deposit that you put down. I don't know what's around the corner, but if the people who own banks want to be incredibly cruel and just repossess loads and loads of houses, they will. Okay, when they try and put them back on the market, they're going to find that these houses are not worth anywhere near as much as they used to be worth. Hence, they are not going to sell for very much. And therefore, the people who have lost everything will probably find it easier to rebuild their life, because if providing they've got some sort of savings, I think it all depends on where your house is and how much it's worth, and if it's nice, and who can buy it. But I don't know what's about to happen. But I know that if you're only earning £2,000 a year, you can't be having a flat, a two-bedroom flat that's £2,000 a year. Why? Because you don't have enough money to pay for that, and you have basically turned yourself into a slave. If the average salary is £3,000 a year, then if the average salary in England is £3,000 a year, then the house market can't be £2,000 a year, because you even with that, if you earn £3,000 a year, they take off tax, they take off all the costages of service charge and all this other stuff, and then you're just left with nothing basically. And house prices shouldn't be this high, and therefore a crash needs to happen to sort of to stop people from being slaves. But yeah, if there's a lot of people that have massive mortgages, and have put all their savings, all their life savings into this property, only to find that the house market's now dropped, they can't make the money back, maybe they don't have a job that covers all the bills, maybe if they bought 4 or 5 houses and got and got, because I saw an advert on Instagram where they were saying you should do this. You have one house, and then you buy another one, you rent it out, and you take out another mortgage, and then you buy it out, and then so you basically have a whole bunch of houses that are all on mortgage, and they're basically paying for themselves. It's just like, that's what my sister kind of wanted to do. I think she said that you just have loads of houses and they all pay for themselves. You just have to rent them out. But I told her that a collapse is coming, and she's just like, well, that's not going to happen. You've been saying that for a while. It's not going to happen. Well, it is. I'm getting the timing wrong. That's all I'm doing. But yeah, I believe that is going to happen. And if people knew that it was, or aware that it's going to happen, or could spiritually sense that this was about to happen, then they wouldn't have done it. And if they can't sense that, they might find that all the savings that they did put is going to go into it. But people shouldn't be slaves. This isn't their money. That if they're buying lots and lots of houses with a massive mortgage, and the mortgage is just paying off the houses, and their goal is to just wait until the mortgage is ended and then sell the house and then get a massive amount of money, because they've just, technically this isn't your money. The people that have been paying this huge amount of rent, the people who have been slaves and for the whole of their life just to pay off this house, these are the people who should be helped. And everyone kind of needs help in different ways, but no one should have to have 3/4 of their salary going on rent just to find that they have nothing to amount to it in the end. And therefore, if you've just been buying up houses just to rent them off and in hopes of just having a big gold mine at the end of it, you haven't done anything. Did you really deserve that? I mean, maybe you did. Maybe the tenants were being awkward. Maybe they were refusing to pay. Maybe you did a lot of renovation and spent lots of money on doing it up. So I don't know what will happen, but I think if the banks want to get very rich, there's a huge amount of, if the market massively crashes, there will be a huge number of people that cannot pay off the mortgage because the mortgage is way higher than the new value of the house, and the banks are just going to have a free-for-all over which houses they get to repossess.